The reason we are here today is because spam continues to be a major problem on the internet. reCAPTCHA's mission is to fight the spam and to keep the internet clean. We believe a spam-free, clean internet is a better internet for everyone. My name is Vinay Sheth. I'm a product manager for reCAPTCHA. I'm here today with my colleagues Aaron Yinglu and Aaron Malanfan, who are engineering leads for reCAPTCHA. And we have an exciting session planned for you today. We're going to start by giving you a sense of an overview of what reCAPTCHA is and how it has evolved over the last few years to get to where it has gotten to today. We'll then go under the hood and see how reCAPTCHA works and how you can use reCAPTCHA on your sites or your apps to fight spam. We'll then take a quick look at some recently released features and some upcoming features that we're launching soon. And then we have some very exciting talks from a couple of our partners. We have Dan Cernik from Ticketmaster joining us today to tell us how Ticketmaster uses reCAPTCHA to fight bots. And we have Danny Grant from Cloudflare joining us today as well to tell us how they used reCAPTCHA to make a better experience for their users. And towards the end, we're going to show you something that I think you're going to find extremely exciting. All right. So today, a significant amount of traffic on the internet comes from automated bots. These bots hurt your site and your apps. They could do so by creating fake accounts, by posting inappropriate comments, or by engaging in fraud or abuse on your e-commerce systems, or by simply posting spammy emails or messages. In other words, if your site or app has any resource of any value, it is prone to abuse by these bots. But reCAPTCHA can help. reCAPTCHA is a free API that you can use on your site or your app to fight the spam and abuse. And you can do so while letting your valid human users through with ease. If you were to use reCAPTCHA on your site today, this is what it would look like. You would embed a widget, which is a checkbox that says, I'm not a robot. When your users come to this checkbox, they would click on that or tap on the checkbox to show that they're human. And for a significant fraction of your users, that is all they would have to do. The checkbox would check, and they would get through to the next page. Now, for a certain fraction of your users, we would prompt a challenge. We would say, hey, prove you're really a human by, in this example, clicking on all the pictures that show a coffee. Right? So a single click or a few taps or some other times. reCAPTCHA today is utilized by over 1 million customers, by companies, by organizations worldwide. Every day, we receive on the order of hundreds of millions of solutions back from across 240 locales around the world. So we have a fairly broad view of the abusive activity that happens around the world. So the bad guys cannot hide. Oh, and reCAPTCHA is also available to you in our 56 languages. So no matter where in the world your users are, reCAPTCHA has a solution for them and it will work for them. But this is easy, right? A single checkbox, a few taps, and you're through. But reCAPTCHA was not always this easy. As recently as 2 years ago, this is what reCAPTCHA was, right? This is what we call synthetic distorted text. Let me say it again. It's a mouthful. Synthetic distorted text. Synthetic because we would generate the image. We would take text, a word, that we know what the word is, and we would create it into an image, and then give it to the human and say, hey, what word is it? And they would type it out. And 10 years ago, literally, if you said, the idea was that a human could read that, but machines could not. Right? Because computer vision or artificial intelligence was not yet at the point where they could do that. But guess what? It began catching up. Right? It began catching up to a point where we had to start distorting that text. Because the more you distort, the harder it is for machines. Oh yeah, it's hard for humans too, but yeah, sure, they can read the thing somehow. If they squint a little bit hard, they can read it. Right? But ultimately, it got so bad that the image on the right-hand side there, that crazy image is one of the hardest text distorted that we would actually serve. So 2 years ago, in 2014, we really asked ourselves the question, all right, so synthetic distorted text is what's the rage right now. Can it really tell humans and machines apart? So we took the hardest variant of this CAPTCHA that we had, and we showed it to some humans. They were able to get through at 33% accuracy. That's a third, all right? All right, so humans can get past the 33%. What about machines? So we gave the same CAPTCHAs to a state-of-the-art machine learning algorithm that our own team had built here within Google. And this was 2 years ago, by the way, just 2014. And the results shocked us. So the state-of-the-art machine learning algorithm in 2014 was able to solve the hardest synthetic distorted text CAPTCHAs at 99.8% precision. Now, when most of you folks think of CAPTCHAs, these are the kind of CAPTCHAs you're thinking about. It is synthetic distorted text, right? This was a wake-up call. We had to go back to the drawing board literally to say, what can we do to change this, to pivot into something else that actually works in the real world, right? And that's when we decided to go into a route and build something called a risk analysis engine. A risk analysis engine is a back end that does not look only at the solution to that challenge, but that rather looks at the whole engagement the user has with our CAPTCHA holistically, and then use that to try to determine whether someone's a human or a bot, right? In doing so, the challenge is useful, but not the only component, right? The second element here really was that we moved away from a synthetic image, one that was generated by us, into a natural image. We could now tap into Street View to try to see how we can use a natural image and use that as a challenge when required, right? In 2016, the state of the art in computer vision is still not at a point where, at scale, you can understand everything in a natural image. So it does provide some degree of signal there, right? Now, of course, this will not be true forever. We have a window of time as AI catches up, as computer vision catches up. But as of today, it works. And what our team is going to focus on is to try to stay ahead of the curve. As technology evolves, we keep trying to probe our own systems as technology evolves to stay ahead of the curve and to provide the best security so that you don't have to worry about it. But now, let's tell you a little bit more about what's behind this risk analysis engine. And to do so, I call upon Ying Liu.
Thanks, Vinay. My name is Ying. I'm a 10-year-old Google engineer. So that's the same age with Google I/O. I just look a little bit older than that. So let me take you behind the scenes, and let's all check out how reCAPTCHA actually works. Turns out you just need 2 lines of code. The first line is to request a JavaScript library from us. And the second line is the div to render the I'm not a robot widget. So as a developer, you embed these 2 lines of code in your web page and fires a request to the reCAPTCHA server. And in response, we give you the widget itself together with some JavaScript library. And when your end user clicks on the I'm not a robot checkmark, it sends another HTTP request to us. And this time, we're looking at the wide range of signals that you're sending to us, including the full HTTP stack, IP address, and etc. And on the server side, there's something really interesting is happening. So as Vinay was mentioning, we're deploying an advanced risk analysis system, which is using machine learning to predict how abusive this incoming request is. And based on this prediction, we give you different CAPTCHA treatment. So if a well-behaved human, we give you a green check directly. For bad bots, we reject you right on the spot. Well, that's a Photoshop of the rejection. The actual picture doesn't look like that. It was much worse. But for everything else in between, right, we're not sure or we think you're suspicious. We give you different CAPTCHAs. Here I'm just showing you 2 examples. The one on the left is a 3x3 grid. We're showing you 9 natural images, and you're asked to select a common object among them. The one on the right is even harder. Here we have 1 natural image, and you're asked to select, to locate a particular object inside that picture. So as of today, 2016, this is still considered very difficult, even for advanced AI. Now, with this pre-classification, it allows us to do a lot of interesting experiments, and we start to gaining insights about how human and bots behaves differently on the internet. And for the next few slides, I'm going to share with you some of the insights. So as I mentioned just now, there's pre-classification, and for highly suspicious traffic, we give them very difficult CAPTCHAs. And this is how bots behave. They walk away. So here I'm showing two bars. The blue one is the number of challenges. So challenge is defined as a click on the checkbox of I'm not a robot. And the red bar is the number of solutions. That's an attempt to solve a CAPTCHA when you're presented with one. So as you can see here, it's a big drop from challenges to solutions. So it turns out for bots, only 5% of the challenges leads into a solution. And the remaining 95%, they abandon the CAPTCHA experience. So you might wonder, how does that work for human if you present them a very hard CAPTCHA, right? So we did this experiment on human as well. We give them the same hard CAPTCHAs, and turns out more than 90% of humans actually will try to solve this CAPTCHA. So that's a huge difference in terms of behavior between bots and human. So reCAPTCHA's mission has been helping the internet clean, keep it free of spam and abuse. So to do that, we cannot drive humans away. Actually, the human's usability is a top priority for us. So with the pre-classification, we can give human a lot easier challenges. So in V1, that means much easier text distortions. And the V1 human users get an 89% pass rate. So here, pass rate is defined as the passed solutions over total number of solutions. When we get on to V2, that number has significantly improved to 96%. And for the remaining 4% of human users, you failed, but you can always try again. And CAPTCHA solving has been faster and faster for human beings. So in V1, because it's text distortion, that you have to type in through your keyboards, which is particularly hard for mobile users. In V2, that experience has changed into mouse clicks or even screen touches. So with that, we have seen the solving time for humans has reduced by half. And that means every human solving online, we're saving them few seconds. And cumulatively, that is 50,000 hours every day that we save internet users. 50,000 hours every day, that is 6 man-years. And that is a lot of cats and dogs videos you could have watched on YouTube rather than solving CAPTCHAs. And I think YouTube should thank us for this. So every day we receive hundreds of millions of CAPTCHA solutions. And among the past solutions, roughly 1/3 of them is coming from no CAPTCHA experience. So of course that number varies side by side. So to find out the particular number for your sites, Aaron is going to explain in more details how to get that. So this is a map of the overall pass rate we observed from V1. So here it's color-coded by red as being low pass rate, meaning most of the solutions failed. And green is high pass rate, most of them succeeded. When we move on to V2, you see it's transitioning into a land of green, which means whenever you encounter a V2 reCAPTCHA on the internet, you're most likely to solve it correctly. But if you're bots, you're most likely to walk away. So to recap reCAPTCHA, it is getting easier and faster for humans and harder for bots. What that means for you as a developer is that your human users will enjoy a much higher conversion rate, and the bots are blocked out. So next I'll have Dan from Ticketmaster to share us a story of how reCAPTCHA V2 has helped Ticketmaster human users to buy more tickets online. So with that, Dan.
Thanks, Ying. Hi, everyone. My name is Dan Cernik. I'm the Director of Abuse Prevention for Ticketmaster and Live Nation. And what that means to you guys is that myself and my team, we battle against bots all the time, trying to get you tickets and keep people who aren't people out of events. The long and short of it is that this is our entire jobs. Just like it is for them, we stop bots. Ticketmaster is a 40-year-old company. We're just celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. And 2015, about 12,000 clients, 43,000 events, 465 million tickets, and 38 billion web requests we serviced. Bots are an absolutely massive problem for us, just like they are for you guys. We want to get you guys in. when I go to bed, I dream about bots, so I'm not weird. And when I wake up, I dream about bots still. That might make me weird. But oh no, sorry, no tickets found. Yeah, you don't like to see that. We don't like you to see that either. This can be, if it's a week after an event goes on sale, it's okay. You know, it's a normal organic traffic. If it's an hour after, it kind of sucks, but it's still maybe okay. If it's 15 seconds in, I'm sure you have some pretty choice words about that particular situation. So we don't want that to happen. And this is sometimes due to bots, sometimes other things, but a lot of bots. So what do the bots and bad actors do? Why do we have the problems in general with people not able to get tickets? Like we said, bots again, they use CAPTCHA farms. So they'll take these CAPTCHAs, they'll ship them off to China, get them solved for low rates. They'll ship back the solution, then they can continue going through with their programs. They violate ticket limits, so we say 8 tickets allowed. They'll buy 800, 8,000. I mean, there's some number that they can actually accomplish in getting. They'll use other system exploits to get tickets, and then finally they'll hold inventory in reserve. They'll put it on a secondary market. If they sell it, they buy it. If they don't sell it, they release it back into inventory. And we call this no-risk arbitrage, and we need that to stop too. This market, for just this, is $4 to $5 billion a year. So the bad guys who are trying to get these tickets, they have a lot of money at stake here. So Ticketmaster, we use a lot of different strategies. This is a few of them. We use a lot, like you guys, like the IP blocking schemes based on velocities. We'll look at the IP addresses. We'll look at the CIDR blocks that they're coming through, the accounts that people are using, the device identifiers as well, and there's a bunch of other things that we use as well. We have internal machine learning, and so we have a team of data scientists that's dedicated to determining and figuring out what the bot signatures are and how things are actually behaving to predict who's good and who's bad. So they'll say, you guys look good, you guys look bad. I'm not used to holding two things here, sorry. So it'll categorize based on how you appear to be. So these people look good, you look good coming through, we'll put you with that group. You guys look bad, we're gonna put you with that group. So that's how we internally will do that categorization. And we have a little bit of experience with CAPTCHA too. So our history with CAPTCHA, actually, we wrote our own a bunch of years back, and it was fairly effective for a little while. And then we also had another CAPTCHA as well that was still based on the text. And as Vinay mentioned, the OCRs have gotten really good, fabulously good, and better than pretty much any people are. So when you have that type of CAPTCHA presented, the ability for bots to get through it is actually better than the ability for humans to get through it. So this is the presentation that we have on Ticketmaster right now, the checkbox that you like to see. And for me, I love this because when I get up for an on sale, I buy tickets too. We're all fans. We go to a lot of events. And when I see this in the morning, I'm like, whew, I don't need glasses and a shot of tequila to get through this experience. So it makes me really happy. And so what it's meant to Ticketmaster really is we're confident that we're getting more fans through. And we have a lot of spiky traffic. We have a lot of big on sales that we do. So some of these spikes could be Garth Brooks and Beyonce and Adele and that type of stuff. And then when those on sales complete, traffic kind of drops back off. But the averages before reCAPTCHA enablement were higher than they are now. So for a lot of you guys, a reduction in traffic may or may not be good. For us, this is very good. We're getting 70% less traffic and the same number of sales. So 270% increase in conversion rate, and so fabulous. And thank you. And then post-CAPTCHA conversion rate as well. It's another gate that we check, and so it's like when somebody goes through CAPTCHA, do they actually buy something? And so the conversion rate when we had the A/B testing was, we set it at 1. The new conversion rate is 226% greater than that, and so we know that more fans are getting tickets out of that experience. So, again, to quote Ying, to recap reCAPTCHA for Ticketmaster, it's been better for us. 70% less traffic going to the event pages, so that's good. Event page conversion rate has really been great. The post-CAPTCHA conversion rate up by 230%, and then the carted conversion rate, or when somebody puts something in their cart, do they buy it? Up by 128%, so that's been awesome. Things that are really much harder to measure, but you kind of get an indication based on like Twitter feeds and what people are writing about their experience and seeing things. Les Bott's getting tickets, so he's not super happy about that. You have a lot better ease in getting tickets because the inventory will be there for you to access it. Actually, the ecosystem comes down, so the ticket prices for your average entry will end up being lower because you don't have to go to secondary markets to buy them. And then, we have our little Rock On guy. You get to Rock On more because you have to spend less money. So, thank you. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron Malenfant. I'm with the reCAPTCHA team. So you saw Ying present stats on how reCAPTCHA does globally, and you saw Dan present some stats on how reCAPTCHA works for Ticketmaster. But you're probably wondering, how does reCAPTCHA work for you and your site? You may not know this, but reCAPTCHA has a number of charts and graphs on our admin console, which are specific to your site. To get there, you can go to g.co/reCAPTCHA, click Get reCAPTCHA, and from there you'll see a list of sites that you've registered with us. If you don't have a site yet, you can also register one there. So once you're there, you can click on your site, and the first chart which we launched when we launched reCAPTCHA was a pass-fail chart. So this is, for all the CAPTCHAs we served, was it passed or failed? But as you saw from Ying's presentation, with V2, the bots don't even try to solve it. So it wasn't really giving us a good metric of how effective reCAPTCHA is doing. So earlier this week, we launched a new chart, which is a session pass rate. What this says is, for all the traffic which clicked on the I'm not a robot checkbox, did they eventually pass, or did they walk away? And so this will give you an idea of your own conversion rate for reCAPTCHA. We also have a chart which gives the average session time. And again, this is from the time the user clicks on the I'm not a robot to whether they succeed. This tells you how much time your users are spending to solve CAPTCHAs. Another thing we've been dealing with lately is that not all websites have the same value to spammers. And also, not every place on your website has the same value. There are some places where the bots and the bad actors will spend real money to try to break in because they can make some money out of that. And we previously treated those two things the same way. So recently, we added a way for you to signal to us how you want to treat the traffic. Should we optimize for security, or should we optimize for usability? And this is, in the case where we know it's a human or a bot, we still treat it the same. But this allows you to signal to us which way you wish us to bias our decisions, so that you can make the appropriate decision for your site, or for different places on your site. To enable this feature, you go to the same place that you would for the charts and graphs. And at the bottom, you can open up the advanced settings and set the security preference for your site. By default, though, we recommend you just leave it in the middle and let us make the decision. But for areas where you want to bias towards usability, for instance, let's say you had a contact your sales form, and if there was some spam that got in there, that's not that big of a deal. We're still protecting you against bad actors, but we'll bias a little more towards the usable side, so that as much of so your users have the easiest time. But if let's say you're in a place where spammers are willing to put real money behind it, then we want you to go to most usable. So for commerce, maybe forgot my password links, those type of things where you want to bias towards security. So now Danny from Cloudflare is going to talk about how they used this to solve a problem that they were having.
Hey guys. I'm Danny, and I'm the product manager working closely with Google's reCAPTCHA at Cloudflare. Cloudflare is a content delivery network that also makes websites resilient to attacks. Content delivery networks sit in between the visitor and the origin web server and accelerate traffic in between them. What makes Cloudflare unique is its special attention to security. When Cloudflare proxies web traffic, it lets good traffic in but keeps bad traffic out. 4 million websites use Cloudflare, so every second we serve 3.5 million web pages. Cloudflare uses Google's reCAPTCHA to verify visitors when we've seen their IP addresses previously in cyber attacks. We're pretty big fans of Google's reCAPTCHA. That's a picture of our office in London, where Google helps us keep our beer safe. We see a lot of cyber attacks. This is a snapshot of just some of our DDoS attack traffic volume. So we end up serving a lot of CAPTCHAs. We serve 1.5 billion CAPTCHA pages every day. I want to talk to you about one interesting challenge of serving reCAPTCHA, which is serving to the users of the Tor browser. Tor makes a browser that allows anyone to surf the web anonymously. Anonymity is incredibly important for people who have their speech or access to the internet restricted all over the world. Unfortunately, anonymity is also really useful if you're a cybercriminal. And so unfortunately, 94% of the traffic we see from the Tor browser is malicious traffic. That means that when Tor visitors visit Cloudflare websites, their IP reputation scores often trigger CAPTCHAs. Google takes the following logic. The more abusive the traffic, the more challenging the CAPTCHA should be. There are a few ways to make a challenging CAPTCHA. One is to serve images that are visually similar or instructions that are lingually nuanced. This guards against bots that are using computer vision to solve the CAPTCHAs themselves. But not all bots are doing this. Some are randomly guessing at the CAPTCHAs. And for them, the guard is to require multiple correct solutions of the CAPTCHA to complete the CAPTCHA challenge. The more correct solutions you require, the less likely a bot is to randomly guess the CAPTCHA challenge. And so, for the most suspicious IPs, Google would serve difficult CAPTCHAs that would require multiple correct solutions. This could be a very frustrating experience for a Tor user. We care a lot about the usability of the internet, and so we were trying to find a solution. And then Google did something very neat. They offered this toggle that, among other things, would allow us to cap the number of CAPTCHAs in each CAPTCHA challenge at 1. We care a lot about the usability of the internet, more than allowing a few extra bots in. And so when they released this setting, we turned the slider to the left right away. And now, if you encounter a CAPTCHA through Cloudflare, even through Tor, you only get 1 CAPTCHA per challenge. I can show you what this looks like on the edge. So this chart shows the 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after we made this change. And this yellow line is the day we turned the slider to the left. The dark blue line at the top is the total amount of CAPTCHA sessions we serve. And the light blue line at the bottom is the total number of sessions that were successfully passed. You can see that after we made this change, there's no increase in the number of sessions passed. This means that even though the CAPTCHA is now easier for users, no extra bots are getting in. This is cool. Here's something interesting. This chart shows the total number of CAPTCHAs that we serve, including the duplicate CAPTCHAs inside the you need to solve more to complete the CAPTCHA challenge CAPTCHA loops. Right away, when we turn the slider to the left, the number of CAPTCHAs that we serve dropped by 70%. This is a win. This means that we are able to serve 70% less CAPTCHAs, but still not let in any more bots. And because users have to solve less CAPTCHAs, they're faster getting in through the site. Immediately when we turned on this option, users took 17% less time to get through the CAPTCHA challenge. This is cool. So we're really happy with the solution, and we hope Tor users are too. I'm going to hand this back to Vinay and Aaron.
Thank you, Danny. That was an awesome story. Thanks for sharing that with us. So I hope by now you've seen that reCAPTCHA has truly evolved over the last several years. We have moved from a synthetic distorted text into a risk analysis engine that looks at the traffic in a holistic manner. And in doing so, it has truly become more secure and is more effective at stopping bots. You heard from Ticketmaster how when they began using reCAPTCHA, they were able to stop more bots and their user conversion actually went up. You heard from Cloudflare how when they began switching on to this new version, they're able to let their valid users pass through easily while not seeing any increase in the abusive activity. So the key point here really is that as technology evolves, as we see more and emerging threats coming up, we will stay abreast with those threats. And hopefully we'll stay ahead of the curve so that you don't have to worry about the security or spam and abuse on your site. Right? And while doing all of this stuff, we are relentlessly focusing on usability. How can we make this as easy as possible for the user? So today, already a significant number of users on your site can get through with just one click. But, can we do better? Are we done with just this? Let's ask Aaron. Hey, Aaron, come on up. How are you doing?
Good. No.
Are we done?
We're not done yet. What if we could make it 0 clicks instead of 1 click?
0 clicks? What do you mean?
Let me show you a screencast of something we're working on right now.
Sorry.
Let's say that the next generation smartphone is coming out, and they're going for a retro style.
I would buy that.
And you know that a lot of people are going to attempt to buy this and sell it on the secondary market, so you want to put a CAPTCHA on the page. So the user would come to the form, they would enter their information out, type in their email address, pick a color, and then click buy now, and that's it.
That's it? Wait, what just happened there? Go back. Take it back. So this is a normal form. The user just enters the normal information, and you would have had a CAPTCHA on this page, correct?
That's correct.
But in this particular case, they fill out the information, they hit buy now, and that's it?
Yes.
Wait, was there a CAPTCHA on that page?
Yes, it was invisible.
The invisible CAPTCHA. How does it work?
So we'll do the risk analysis before you click the buy now button, so that way we know when you click buy now if we're going to give you a no CAPTCHA or not. Mm-hmm. That way, the third of the users that would get the no CAPTCHA don't have to click on anything at all.
That's amazing. So the fraction of users who today get a no CAPTCHA, a single click, would in this experience see nothing at all?
That's correct.
That's awesome. Has this launched already, Aaron?
Not yet. We will provide a link at the end for beta signups for anyone interested.
That is cool. We have a video, don't we?
Yes.
Shall we roll video?
Sure.
Since the launch of the No CAPTCHA reCAPTCHA, a simple checkbox has helped identify humans from even the sneakiest bots, stopping billions of attacks on websites around the world. But to stay one step ahead of the bad guys, reCAPTCHA needed to keep evolving to ensure the most delightful user experience. And now we're taking it even further. Can you see it? Of course not. It's invisible. Powering these advances is a combination of machine learning and advanced risk analysis that adapt to new and emerging threats. So whether on desktop or mobile, reCAPTCHA still means no frustration. People get to where they're going faster, and everyone stays happy, except bots.
Thank you everyone for coming to this talk. The link on the top is where you would sign up for learning more about the invisible CAPTCHA. There's some laptop stickers down here, so please pick them up on your way out.